Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to another Wednesday night on Twitch. It's SOP, it's the SimStaff sponsored Sprint Championship. Simon really does love these names. It is round number 4. We are at Zaandvoort in the championship that is hotting up and going to go right down to the wire as the halfway mark fast approaches. We have the silver drivers out on track setting their warm-up laps, so we'll quickly introduce my co-coms for this evening. It is Mr. Simon Baggis himself. How are you doing this evening, Simon?
Hello, good evening. Yeah, we're doing very well now. Back to full health, back in the commentary booth. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be very interesting because it's so tight and twisty.
Excellent. It's good to hear that you young ones recover so quickly. It's the silvers that are out at the moment, the top 10 in that championship. Much like in the pros, only 10 points separating the top two, Fielder and Danzer. Rawlings only 4 points back, and only 14 points back from there. Nelson Abrinhosa, Klaus Christensen in 5th place, Mustafa Ranjbar in 6th, Tony Frisina in 7th position, and it is Reyes Gabriel Foltea in 8th place. Euphoric State, what a name that is, and Chesney Salazar rounding out the top 10 there. Quick word on the silver, Simon. It is very close up at the top, some good talent through there, and expecting some good action tonight from those drivers. Silver, sorry, the GT4, the silver drivers.
Silver drivers, yeah, we are. We are without David Dancer. He's away on holiday somewhere, sipping beer. So he's the man who's second.
Picture. Hopefully it's cold.
The man who's second in the championship won't be with us this evening. He's been able to avoid his ballast for this round. So yeah, he'll go again in the next round, I'm sure. But if you've got ballast here at Zaandvoort, you're really going to suffer, and the BMWs aren't that great here anyway. So we could see some, may I say, surprise winners, perhaps. It'd be nice to see. It would be nice to see a driver win tonight who hasn't currently won a round in the series so far.
I know. You remember the days when we've had twice now, we've had drivers go right down to the last race, haven't won a race and still in contention for the championship.
Exactly.
Phenomenal stuff, yeah, it's good to see. Let me just check the audio volumes. Yeah, that's not bad actually, unlike Monday when I didn't put any volume on at all. In the pros, as I said, there's only 10 points separating the top two, and it's an RT012 in fact. Dan Watts and Sigurd Revzig, the BMW is hinted at to do well this evening round here. 4 of them leading the championship. Liam Page and Jonathan Reed 3rd and 5th, showing a strong showing for SOP. In fact, 4 SOP drivers in the top 10, 3 RTO drivers in the top 10, and another SOP and RTO driver, Jack Thorburn and Joe Boyle, just outside the top 10. It's James Mead in 4th, Jonathan Reed 5th, Ben Neergaard in 6th, Faulkner in 7th, Camilio in 8th, Alvarez just out of, back from a year off, not too bad at all, and Abe Santema, making up the top 10 there. And to say we've got some quality in the pros with this one, Simon, another one of an understatement. Watts, Revsig, Page, Mead, Reed, Neergaard, like right down to Boyle. Every single one of them potential race winners.
Yeah, you're right there. Someone I'm going to hedge my bets on tonight is going to be Peter Brett in the Porsche. He's not really featuring at the top of the standings, but he has taken pole position of 2 of the 3 rounds already so far in this series. He just hasn't had the luck in the races to go with it. With the BMWs not great around here, and with 3 of the BMWs in the pro class having the success ballast applied, I can only see Peter Brett in the Porsche taking pole position, and if he avoids any contact on lap 1, he should be able to pretty much walk away with this round.
You should indeed. We've jumped onto a quick hello to everyone in the chat. Leon Seeley says he's only here for the Binneds. Thanks very much there. Marcus Jusman, Mr. MSX, in the chat as well. Latte Lou saying Alza. Furore for Rust Race, good evening, and that's in purple on a black background, so I can't see that. Valerio Poli, 75. Alza as well, Forza M4R. As Simon mentioned, their success ballast, we don't like to make it easy. Another championship, we've got time in the pits, and this one, it's just brunt force trauma as we add weight to your car if you win. So congratulations to the top 3 from last week. 30 kilograms of ballast if you win the week before, 20 kilograms if you finish second, and 10 kilograms if you finish third. As we said, David Danzer not here, so he will be avoiding his ballast this week, but it is Chris Fielder. He's just gone fourth actually with 30 kilograms of ballast, last week's race winner, still with a good showing there in fourth. Nelson Abrunhosa finished second last week, and he has just gone eighth, but still 20 kilograms of ballast in the Aston Martin. Unlike the Jag, it isn't golf clubs in the boot. At the moment, it is Tony Frasina that is leading the way in the Porsche 911. 2 purple sectors under his belt with a 135.232. The Mercedes of Faltea in second, and Mustafa Ranjbar bringing in a pair of Aston Martins with Chris Fielder there. Third and fourth. Christian Dye, Forza M4. Lots of shouts for the M4. Let's go back to that. Some quick times already, Simon, and just like we love to see here at SOP, there's only a second separating 11 drivers, and that's just the silvers.
Yeah, I mean, low 35s for the silver class. I expect the pros to even potentially get into the 33s, dependent on how they can fare with the ballast and whatnot. So yeah, going to be a good show in between these drivers. I think Peter Brett may take pole position by even maybe half a second in the Porsche, because the rest of the cars behind him have either got ballast or they struggle around here. So it's going to definitely be tight for the rest of the pack in the pros, and then we'll just see who's best of the rest. Frasina, who's here currently on pole position, he's had 2 fourth place finishes as his strongest races, so he's definitely looking to capitalise. And obviously Faltea, did we say Faltea's leading the way in the silvers? I can't remember now.
No. Faltea is only just inside the top 10. He's 8th.
Right, okay, so yeah, they're both looking for a brilliant result here today, and obviously the Porsche and the Mercedes seem to be 2 manufacturers that seem to be going rather well around here, so yeah, they can hopefully capitalise on this round as one of the best rounds in the series.
Yeah, and as well as the success ballast, we do, even though it's only a 6-round championship, there is a drop round included, so your worst score will be removed from the standard, so you'll effectively take your 5 best scores from the 6 races, and that will equal your total for the season. At the moment, it is interesting because if we didn't have the drop round, Sigur Revsig would actually be leading the championship by virtue of the fact that he's been on the podium 3 times, first, second and third. Watts has a 5th as a drop round, so just goes to show you how much of an effect that can have. Again, Chris Fielder, he's got a 2nd and a 1st. He's also got a 12th position, that's his drop round. James Rollins 1st and 2 5ths. So again, if we didn't have a drop round, you would be looking at Danzer leading the championship, Rollins 2nd and Fielder in fact in 3rd position. So Fielder really can't put a foot wrong for the rest of the season. Danzer has got a 3rd place to back him up as his drop round at the moment, so he can afford to potentially, well, he's going to be his drop round tonight because he's not going to score, so he can't put a foot wrong now for the rest of the season. James Rollins with a 1st and 2 5ths, sitting pretty indeed. Chris Christensen with an 11th as well. That is the silvers finish as I muse my way through the numbers and the statistics that are the qualifying status. We've still got Tony Frasini slightly up on his time, looking to extend his gap. We've got now 12 drivers within 9/10. Petrovic and Rocco setting almost identical times. Love to see it. It's still a 10th separating Frisina from the rest of the pack, and he is, as I say, up on his deltas at the moment. M4R, of course, there we go. Now I'm catching on. There, Tony Frisina fans in the chat. That is who M4 is. I apologise for not catching on to that one a bit quicker. Again, I was musing my way through. Oh, and he's been overtaken by Faltea. Right at the end of qualifying there. Faltea for the Wild Things Racing Team. 134.995 is Euphoric State Racing. In third, Mustafa Ransbar, Klaus Christensen, 4th and 5th. Fielder in 6th. Oost in 7th. Williamson in 8th. And Abrun Hosa in 9th. Rollins, 10th place. Petrovic in 11th. Rocco in 12th. Royschutz in 14th. Gibbons, in 14th position. So that is the 14. For the Silvers, Simon Faltea for saying, as you predicted, doing well. Euphoric State making it the top 3. Ransbar there in 4th for SOP. Chris Fielder down in 6th position, and James Rollins in 10th. Really not the qualifying they'd have been hoping for.
Well, I was about to say, I think Chris Fielder might actually be happy with that P6 because he's got the
ballast, of course.
The 30 kg ballast, so he's definitely faster than over 50% of the Silvers right now. And I know James Rawlin has been suffering with a bad back, just like yourself, John, so he hasn't been able to do any practice whatsoever. And he's coming into this round with no practice and a sore back, so probably that's why he's a little bit off the pace tonight.
Yeah, he has my absolute sympathies. I had a personal matter that I had to drive IRL for today, and I tried to use my brake pedal yesterday for an F4 race. No chance. At the bottom of the back of our survey said,
Oh, so
have a bit of fun with
I'm not sure the young ones know what that is, John.
I will have you know it's actually on the TV at the moment.
I know, yeah.
And Gino De Campo presents it. How can you not love Gino? Goodness gracious me, Simon. You and I shall have words. Floppy Fox in the chat. Good evening. How are we doing? Got Christian Dyer mentioned. I'm sorry, Floppy. I think I skipped past you. I apologise. Absolutely didn't mean it. Yeah, Furore 79. If we could English, please, that would be great. I'm sure. Yeah, we'll need to pop the nose in the chat. But yeah, if you could pop that in English. You did give us a follow as well 18 minutes ago. My notifications. Oh yeah, they should have came up. There we go. But yes, Furore, thank you very much for the follow as well. A quick message as well, as to say, we've hit the ground running. This is sponsored this evening. We are sponsored by SimStaff.
We are indeed. Catch me off guard here. Let me get the SimStaff newsletter link. Post it in the chat.
Yeah, pop that in the chat. Yeah, we do have a barcode on the screen as well. It's a direct link to SimStaff's new magazine. You can subscribe to that for free. Get pretty much anything sim related, be it advice on setups or even commentary, broadcasting, race servers, everything and anything. And this is a brand new newsletter that they are launching. Simon's going to put the link in the chat. They are a new startup as well, so it's great to have them on board sponsoring the series.
Yep, there's the newsletter link. Basically, if you're looking for a job in esports in any country in the world, sign up to that newsletter. They'll send out a weekly newsletter with all the current job vacancies, and there may be one in your country for you to apply for. So yeah, definitely sign up for that one if you want a job in esports and sim racing.
Well, as I say, the barcode, I'm not tech savvy with that. I know they're not called 3D barcodes, but they're called barcodes. You can flash your camera
QRs.
at that. QRs, there you go. Simon, all hip and down with the lingo. Good luck to everyone. Hopefully we will get a clean start. One of the trickiest tracks for starts. It absolutely is indeed, Simon. There's a lot of tracks like Monza get a bit of a hard time over their turn one, but it's safe to say that, I mean, the whole opening 4 turns here at Zaandvoort are an absolute testament to drivers' patience if they all make it through.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, John, we've raced around here with the F4s, and
once or twice.
I can't do a single lap without spinning. So yeah, GT3 cars trying to go side by side. The ACC contact physics probably not the best in the world. You definitely do not want any contact around here. And if you're leading the whole pack and you end up coming together and having a collision, it spells a nightmare for everybody else behind trying to negotiate through this tight and twisty circuit.
Yeah, it really does. There is some extremely interesting parts of the driver. In fact, what we'll do is Albi Alvarez. So this is through turns 2 and 3. We've got a downhill hairpin. Very easy to go side by side through here. Very easy to get it wrong. You don't want to beat yourself on the curbs on the right, although they're not quite as high as they are in an F4 car. That is for sure. Down through the roller coaster of delights, as I like to call this. All kinds of humps, bumps and zero-G experiences for the drivers as they dab on the brakes, try and throw the car in. Get the foot down as early as possible. Again, going curb to curb over this inside curb like it does not exist, and through a very tight S-bend section. Again, the corner closing in on exit, straight across. Another tight left-hander to finish off the S. Then another downhill, almost like hairpin, but it does take you into a chicane. Then we'll go around the corner that F1 drivers can't seem to navigate, hence the track changes, which aren't on this version of the track. The exit there, all important. In fact, it's the middle section of that chicane that is all important. Round the last corner, hit the curbs on the inside, get the foot down, use the exit curb to steady the car, and then as much acceleration as possible. Really using the width of the track there, Albi Alvarez. He does have a bit of time in the bag as he crosses the start-finish line, and we can see here, turn 1, just how much banking is involved. You're going to see the drivers try and use as much of the banking as possible and carry as much speed through there. It is actually quite unbelievable, Simon, how much speed you can carry through that corner when you realise when you go through it in an F4 car, in one of the F4s, the GT3s, but all the extra grip, absolutely flying through there. 134.3. We had Hungaroring last week, Simon. Difficult track to overtake. It's often called the Hungaro train, which we do love. But Zaandvoort, I mean, when it comes to tracks, there's definitely overtaking opportunities, but you really have to be patient through quite a few corners before you can actually make the most of those.
Yeah, definitely. I would say most of the overtaking opportunities will come in the third sector of a lap, especially see overtaking manoeuvres tried to be had at turn 1, and then yeah, it's pretty much like you said, there'll be a train forming behind, waiting for the opportunity to overtake, and then when they get to the final third of this lap, that's when all the opportunities will open up, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just looking down the timing boards here. I didn't realise, I thought we still had 2 minutes left. We've got 10 seconds left. It's Peter Brett, as predicted. He's on the top spot, but it's Alfie Barn in the Honda in second position. Sigurd Revsik, despite the ballast, finds himself in third with Liam Page currently in fourth, still out on track. Nergard in fifth place in the pits. Kashiktrash now down to sixth position then. As it's all changing in the closing stages. Joe Boyle still out on track, so Marco Tacchini for the Firebeast Racing team.
I'm surprised to see Joe Boyle outside of the top 10 right now, to be honest. Maybe he hasn't got on top of that Mercedes this weekend because, well, his teammates are there in fifth place, so there's definitely pace in the lap as he pulls into the pits then, so he reports that final run.
He does indeed. And yeah, outside the top 10, Simon, 8/10 off pole position.
Yeah, exactly. Not quite a 33 that I expected, but a low 34 from Peter and Alfie. And then yeah, well, I expected Peter to take pole by probably half a second. The top two are comfortable 3 to 4 tenths ahead of the rest. Alfie hasn't been too prominent in this series either, actually, has he? But he's back for this round, and he's starting on the front row, and I guess it's going to be a dash to the first corner. Hopefully there is no contact like there was at turn 1 at Hungaroring, and everyone gets away cleanly to have a good first lap.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Sorry, just doing some logistics in the background, and that's changed again.
What's up, Leon? Peter's already in the chat. Let's hope I don't get taken out of turn 1 this time. Yeah, hopefully.
Who else do we have in the chat? We have Flip 10. How we doing? Leon Seeley was good. John and Simon. Everything. Leon, of course. KBACC, good luck to everyone. Hopefully we will get a clean start. Oh yeah, of course. There is confirmation. It's Peter Brett and Alfie Barron on the front row of the grid. It is Refsik and Page, the BMW pairing, being followed by Refsik's teammate in the Mercedes, Ben Nergard in 5th, Kashiktarich in the Ferrari. Go on the Ferraris. In 6th place, Jonathan Reed and Dan Watts on row number 4. On row 5, it's Voltaire and Frizena for the silver. So their timed stood the test. Joe Boyle, so he will be 9th. Marco Tacchini in 10th, and it's going to be Abby Alvarez in 11th, and Michael Firth, Floppy Fox, in 12th position for the pros. And someone we don't see often, Simon, but it was probably half expected. All 3 purple sectors in the bag to one driver, Peter Brett in the Porsche.
Oh yeah, and he improved on his final lap there, I see. Literally almost got a 33 like I predicted. Almost. But yeah, 3 tenths ahead of Alfie, over half a second, like I said he would be to the rest of the field. So yeah, that's a good showing from Peter there.
Yeah, making the most of the ballast free run. Judging by this, though, he's going to have 30 kilograms next week.
I think what we got to watch out for at the start of this race is obviously you got Refsig, Reed and Watts there in 7th and 8th with the ballast as well. They may be slow off the line with that extra ballast, so they may get swamped here into turn 1, and that might cause a bottleneck to the rest of the grid. So we'll see how this plays out now. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I am a huge fan. As you know, I'm a huge fan of Zaandvoort. You can get some good side-by-side fun done here. Patience definitely a virtue. We'll see how our 20... So what have we got? 26? Yeah, 26 drivers get on this evening. Thank you, Rust Race, for the follow. Welcome along, SOP. If anyone does want to get involved, by the way, type in !Discord in the chat. You can get the Discord link. !Sim Grid will take you to all our ACC events. !Sim Racing GP will take you to all our race room events. And there's another !Socials as well, I believe, brings up all the links for Instagram and like. There we go. Simon showing off the bots are indeed working. We've got a warm-up lap. Temperatures and track condition seem pretty perfect for the off. Off the start line, Simon, where would you rather be here? Inside line or outside line?
Definitely inside line.
All day?
Yeah, definitely. Peter's got the optimal line here. Being on the outside there can cause all sorts of problems, especially because the turn 1 just seems to close in on itself, so you don't want to be stuck on the outside. If Alfie's not fast away off the line, he could be swallowed up by 2 or 3 cars at the inside out of turn 1. So if they get a good launch off the line, they may just slot in behind each other with the BMWs fighting behind. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out now.
Yeah, will be a fun lap one. Going to be a fun hour-long race. The drivers, of course, got their mandatory pit stops to take as well. What are? Give us a quick reminder again, Simon. Sorry, what are the pit requirements for our drivers? There isn't any, is there?
They do need to take
fuel
in
only.
their pit stop. Yeah, fuel only, no tyres. Well, tyres are optional, so it's up to them if they want to take tyres. And I think we could see some drivers actually come in as early as the second lap, especially if they're stuck in a train. They might have learned a thing or two from Hungaroring. We saw how the drivers that pitted earlier at Hungaroring were able to get the jump on all those drivers who pitted later in their stints. They lost out massively, so that might be something to watch as well.
Yeah, the overcut, the undercut, all kinds of cuts. We'll see how the drivers navigate
Hopefully
this.
no track cuts.
Hopefully no track cuts. Yeah, track limit violations could certainly be interesting. Shouldn't be too much of a concern around here. A couple of corners the drivers do get overly ambitious with. Could simply be overtaking being the main issue. Drivers trying to find space. I'm not convinced.
I am going to be watching lap one closely as well, and I have warned the drivers in the drivers briefing that I am on standby for any drive-through penalties if you found at fault for lap one incidents, as has been the case for the entire series. It is post-raced penalties only, apart from lap one incidents which do get reviewed.
Oh, fantastic. Yep, I'm 100% on board. With that, I'm still on board with giving a stop go 30 seconds for first lap incidents. Like, really just put people off. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it, you know. There we go. Everything is running. Sound seems good as well. Again, the QR barcode on the screen if you want access to SimStaff's newsletter. A plethora of employment opportunities in the sim racing space. So if you fancy yourself as a driver, an editor, a commentator, a producer, anything to do with sim racing at all, jump on board. The link in the chat as well, slightly earlier. Simon can chuck it back in there as well. And the QR code, see, QR code on screen as well. Give that a flash with your mobile device and it will take you directly there. And we will be going.
I'm going to mute myself, John, for the lap one.
Okay.
I'll let you take the drives around.
Okay, then here we go.
I look out for anything untoward.
Excellent. Well, have fun. Fingers crossed. It's an easy shift for you in there. We'll see what the drivers give me to deal with up at the front. It is Brett and Baron, Honda and Porsche, followed by the two BMWs. Nergard not far behind. There is a green light and they're all the way, and it is a formation for the first two slots right in behind. It does the Honda. It's three wide. Just in the background as the Wild Things car comes right up the inside. It makes a good couple of places there for Fortier. Comes out, almost makes contact. Oh, and that's Nergard has been slowed up there. There was a concertina effect and Nergard has been caught out big time there. He's taken a bit of contact, and the Wild Things car of Fortier has made himself up three positions. It is now a three-way battle between the RTO cars. As we can see, Fortier once again looking to make another position, and he's really charging through. Let's see if we can jump on board, but did indeed get him. He's up now, I believe, in the fifth position. Potentially even fourth. Oh, and he spun. I looked away at the telemetry and he has in fact spun. He's taken a bit of contact. He's flashing these lights. There's more bunching up in the back end as well. Michael Firth almost involved as well. His Ferrari does make it through. James Rollins going side by side with Williamson at the moment for DWSR. Abrin Hosa is still running. I think there's been a bit of a coming together with Petrovics at the start of the race. Marco Tacchini looking to improve on his position. It's Fresena ahead of him. Oh, and that's the Wild Things racing car again. That is Fortier.
There's two Wild Things racing in this, and they both crashed out. Oh no, it's RTO, sorry, Ben Nergard.
Oh, so Ben Nergard's out as well. I'm just quickly watching a replay there to see what happened. coming into the final sector. Everything looked okay. Oh, he gets on the curb and then he tries to rejoin. It's a safe enough rejoin, but he just puts his foot on the accelerator and the car decides to pirouette brutally. It's Peter Brett then leading the way. Alfie Barn second, Segura Revsig in third, Liam Page in fourth, Kasikner is fifth, Dan Watts now in fifth, Joe Boyle up to seventh position. So great start there from Linksay. Jonathan Reed in eighth. It's a euphoric state down in ninth. Tony Frasina in 10th position. Marco Tacchini up to 11th. Then is Mustafa Ransbar sitting third in the silver class, 12th overall. Then it is Alvarez and Firth bringing up another two of the pros. We can see quite a few cars into the pits. Christensen, he's been in potentially. He's got a lot of free track in front of him, so that could well be strategic. Nelson Abrin-Hosa is in the pits, so too Ben Nergaard and Faltea still running. Has managed to get himself going again, but you get the feeling he's going to be coming into the pits to repair himself some damage. Looking very close with Rocky Rocco, Williamson, Oost and Rawlings. A train forming just behind Chris Fielder. In fact, it's Michael Firth. No, it's not. There's been a position change there as well, so we will confirm as we come through the chicane which one that has been. There is Kasikteris in the Ferrari for ERS. Eclipse Racing Esports, I'm sure it is still ERS. They might have had a slight rebrand. There's SOP Motorsport's Liam Page. He is hunting down three teams now ahead of them. There is a car exiting the pits. That is not Ben Nergaard. It is Nelson Abrin-Hosa. Makes his way out of the pits for Team Abbey, and that's his mandatory requirements done as well. Abby Alvarez coming into the pits as well in the lap number 1. So yeah, Peter Brett. So it's all happening at the moment then, early doors. We did see a couple of contacts, so Simon will be back with us shortly. Drive-through penalties, as he said, handed out to any driver found to be infraction of any rules on the first lap, i.e. contact. Don't make contact, and you carry on. No problem. If there is contact made on the first lap and you're found to be the guilty party, you will receive a drive-through penalty. This Tony Frasina, another one of the Silvers, got off to a great start. He was left behind by Faltea in the Wild Things Racing Aston Martin. Faltea fallen down the order, in fact. Yes, he has fallen well down the order after a couple of off-tracks incidents. And after all that, in fact, Euphoric State now finds himself leading the way for the Silvers. 9th place overall, with Frasina now in second. Ransbar sitting in third. Fielder in fourth. Rollins in 5th place. We've got drive-through penalties coming in. It's Jonathan Reed in the pros. He's been given a drive-through penalty, and he comes straight into the pits, handed it as he was coming through the last corner, comes straight in to get that out of the way. So no need to guess what that was for. So obviously one of the lap 1 contacts, Jonathan Reed, that's a drive-through there for him. Peter Brett out in front. Simon did predict he would have something akin to a half-second gap over the rest of the field, given the Porsche's nimbleness around here and the fact that drivers like Refsig in the BMW, already hampered that they're in the BMW here, have got themselves that weight ballast disadvantage. He's already up to 1.3 seconds of a lead over Alfie Barn in the Honda. There is Refsig though in third. Kasiktrash in 4th place. Liam Page in 5th position. Dan Watts, championship leader, he's in 6th with his teammate Joe Boyle in the Mercedes in 7th. Then it is 2 silvers, so an 8th for the pros at the moment is Fire Beast Racing Team's Marco Tacchini, being very closely followed by 3rd place Mustafa Ransbar in the silvers. We've got Michael Firth, Mr. Floppy Fox. Sector Blitz Racing, ESA FSR. Livery hasn't quite worked, but we will get that checked for next week. He is running 9th place at the moment, so top 10 in the pros. Albi Alvarez 10th place in the pros despite being 21st, and Ben Nergaard, these two have come in and taken their pit stop. So they will be looking to make their way back through the field, and that's Voltaire, who is... yeah, he's almost another lap down on Nergard. So a long race ahead. Bit of damage on the front. He's almost... Oh, and he has tapped the Audi. He has tapped the back of that Audi, and that is Barry Gibbons for SBR then in 19th position. So I don't imagine he will be fantastically impressed at that contact under blue flags. He does still have to take his pit stop. Hopefully it didn't sustain too much damage from the contact. It did look like a light contact in the rear, but still it was enough to send him round the wrong way. Alfie Barron doing his best to reel in Peter Bretton, less than a second separate the top two, but refs now 3.1 seconds behind. Euphoric State closing in fact, on Joe Boyle, the Porsche of the strength of the Porsche, sorry, not to be underestimated here at the Dutch track of Zaandvoort. We're seeing some blue flags waving in the background as well as Marco Tacchini trying to get ahead of second in silvers, Tony Frasina. We can see him just there to come out the last corner. Blue flags still waving. I'm not 100% sure who the blue flags are for. Cars still pretty close together. Klaus Christensen leads the way out of the cars that have taken their pit stops in the silvers. Nelson Abrinhosa has done so as well. That is Tony Frasina just trying to make his way past, and should do so fairly quickly. Obviously it is the overtaking car's responsibility to do so cleanly. Not a casting aspersions on either driver in this situation, just a general reference to the rule. Voltaire is at the back of the field then, struggling to keep the car on track at the moment. That damage is definitely not helping. That's a lot of damage on that front splitter. Definitely something the Mercedes, safe to say, it heavily relies on it. We can see that from Voltaire's pace and position at the moment. Ahead of him, Nergard for RTO, championship leader. He's got Roy Schutz in the silvers just ahead of him. Given the pace differential between these two in qualifying, it won't be long, you would imagine, before Nergard is ahead. Mustafa Ransbar still stalking Marco Tacchini, almost beaching himself. Some of the curves here really are higher than you would think. You definitely don't want to go beaching your car. That's a whole lot of momentum that can be lost. Momentum that Euphoric State and the Porsche has managed to gather up. Plenty of, on his way out of the last corner. Really is putting Boyle under pressure. This not a championship points overtake. More just for bragging rights, let's face it. If you're in the silvers, it's nice to finish ahead of as many pros as possible. And the Porsche certainly looking to get one over on RTO member Joe Boyle at the moment. As we can see, Boyle being very closely followed. I do love the sound of the AMG. So let's just watch the Porsche chase. I know there's a lot of fans out there that love the sound of the Porsche. Quite a few cars audibly. You've absolutely got to love the Mercedes. Is definitely one of those. Phenomenal sound. And some phenomenal racing. Oh, we've got some dirt kicked up by Watts just ahead. Oh, actually, no, I apologise. Oh, no, that is Watts just ahead. I thought there was maybe another car being blue flag. Boyle getting a good sector 2. They're stretching that gap back out as they come into sector 3 through the final chicane into the last corner as Boyle stretched that gap back out again. Mustafa Ransbar still getting close to Marco Tacchini. Michael Firth watching that battle ahead. Daniel Williamson, I apologise Daniel, almost called you Danny there. Another Porsche driver trying to catch up on Jesse Oost in the McLaren. Not the solo McLaren, sorry, Roy Schutz in the McLaren as well. We can see them from across the start-finish line. The Porsche looking to close the gap. Still only the 4 drivers taking their pit stop then. So that is them on lap 6, the leaders on lap 7. So they really are the only ones that look to get the pit stop done early. The rest of the field now looking to just consistently lap until they get themselves to that pit stop and get as many overtakes done as you can before then. Ranjbar and Takini lapping fairly equilibrious in pace at the moment. Takini slightly quicker overall, 2/10. He has set a faster lap, but can Ranjbar get in an overtake and get some clean laps and get moved up? I don't think Takini. Again, this one not for position, but he does have a big gap to Frassini. He'll be looking to catch up there, try and get some slipstream to get caught up to the group ahead, but that is an increasing gap at the moment where they're sitting currently at 3 seconds. Chris Fielder and James Rollins, 2 of the drivers with ballast. Good to see on the side of the car, of course, the Hoonigan reference. Definitely RIP to the great man himself.
Okay.
Oh, and there we go. We've got Simon back again. There we go, Simon. Looked like a couple of incidents on lap 1, but only 1 penalty handed out.
Yeah, there was 1 clear penalty, and unfortunately it was one of the SOP drivers, Jonathan Reed, in the 199 or 1-1. He just rear-ended Ben Nergard, not Ben Nergard, sorry. He rear-ended Ben Nergard on lap 1, which sent him spinning, and that's where the initial damage come from. Nergard also lost the car himself, and that's why he's on the rear field. The rest of the instance, it was pretty much sort of bottleneck issues, which was causing cars to bunch up and have a bit of a argy-bargy with each other, but no malice or intentional collisions. It was just lap 1 tight circuit here at Zaandvoort, bottlenecking issues from people involved in incidents higher up on the grid. No real penalties to hand out to drivers. It was just little racing incidents here and there. They just brushed themselves off after lap 1 and they carry on.
Yes, indeed they do. We're just watching Euphoric State. He's got Tony Frassini closing in on him for the lead in the silvers. He's all over the back of Joe Boyle. We've seen 4 drivers come in, Simon, to take their pit stops. A couple of them damage inspired, I would have imagined. A couple of them you would think strategy, but for me, I would have expected at least a few more. But these 4 really, out on a limb on this early strategy. Well, Ben Nergard, of course, we know that he was involved in the contact, so he potentially came in just to get some clear track, which hasn't really worked out for him at the moment. Oh yes, it kind of has. But yeah, an interesting one that so few drivers have gone for the early lap 1-2 pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, you can just look at the track map. Everyone's so spread out already after 15 minutes that I don't think there is anybody that's stuck in a train and being held up by anybody right now. You know, it's someone's facing.
Oh, that's Alfie Barn. That's Alfie Barn. That is indeed Alfie Barn. Let's bring up a replay.
Obviously, that's a driver error. That must be a wheel on the grass.
Oh.
More than a wheel. That's the whole car.
Yeah, that is the whole car.
I guess, yeah, he was going to spin himself as well then, trying to... You know, that is something that I hate about ACC, is how quickly the car just spins itself around when you try and get going again. It's so... what's the word I'm looking for?
Over-exaggerated.
Yeah, just a slight feather of the throttle and it spins you around because your tyres have got a bit of grass on. Look at that, that's completely opened up the lead there for Peter Brett now.
Oh, look at the move in turn 1, Simon. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Porsche on Porsche action. It is Frassini to take the lead in the silvers. So after being up fighting for the lead, we saw Faltea drop off the track after a couple of off-track incidents. and that is Fresena, caught right up to Euphoric State, who was behind Joe Boyle in the pros in 6th, and that is Fresena that now leads, so his fans will be going wild in the chat. There was a few of them giving M4 shout-outs. Got a replay. Oh, sorry, Liam. Which one? Rawlings making progress. Indeed, he is. Great sunny clear weather and enough snow to crash down the mountain, which I've already done too many times, says Marcus. He's on a wee skiing holiday. But yeah, great stuff between these Porsches. But with the Honda dropping off, that is an interesting situation then for Revsig and Kashik-Tarash. In the Ferrari, looking very close indeed to Revsig. We know that Revsig has A, carrying a bit of ballast, and B, the BMW, not really the best of cars around here, but he has been gifted second position, in Kashik-Tarash breathing down his neck. In this position, Simon, I mean, if you're Revsig, he's just been handed second position. See, yeah, Revsig is an absolute world-class driver. There's no way he's just going to sit back and hand over second place to... Oh, what? Kashik-Tarash is just disconnected from the server, so that's that entire... Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Okay. I was going to say, these pain pills for my back are really good.
That just slightly worries me if he does try and overtake now on Sigurd and netcode issues come into play in this contact between them. I hope that doesn't happen. But I know Amir has disconnected from a couple of races before, not just with SOP but in general, and I know Amir does have some connection issues in general from time to time. I think he's based in Iran, perhaps, which will explain why there's connection issues on European servers.
Indeed, yeah. Big bit of netcode there. Just watching that, there's still plenty of action going on. With Tony Fresena, we've seen, actually, sorry, what I was looking for. Euphoric State has come into the pits. He's dropping down the order. There we go. So he's taken his mandatory pit stop. Albi Alvarez has gone ahead of him, but he is in the pros. Klaus Christensen in the silvers. More importantly for Euphoric State is behind him. So he has got that one done. And Tony Fresena not wasting any time at all, Simon, in this Porsche, all over the back of Joe Boyle in that Mercedes. Boyle doing whatever he can to shake off that slipstream. But into turn one, it does look like, at the moment, what you were saying about the Porsche being one of the better cars around here, at the hands of Tony Fresena over this Mercedes, that's certainly looking to be the case.
Yeah, and you're in a bit of a weird predicament right now because you're in the silver class and you're racing a pro driver. Yeah, you're quicker than the pro driver at this stage of the race, but the pro driver also doesn't want to give up track position to a silver driver. I guess it's more about a pride thing there at this point, isn't it? So we'll see how this one develops. If Racena's going to force the issue and get the move done, he's looking rather racy and he's definitely making those late lunges into turn one, and he's making them stick. So maybe we'll see that on the next time around, as Joe Boyle looks to be struggling again in that Mercedes. He's been able to get up to 6th place, which is fantastic. He started outside the top 10.
Oh, job done.
But on pace alone, Joe Boyle doesn't seem to have it in the bag, as Racena's doing a fantastic job there in the silver class.
Yeah, there he is. The M4R fans will be celebrating with double espressos. That'll be triple espressos soon. There's Alfie Barn in the background. He's at 8th position. He's made it back up a position. Up at the front, interesting times ahead is Liam Page in the BMW. He's got Dan Watts not too far behind him, and he's got a very lively Kashik-Tarash and Revsig battle just ahead. 9 seconds is the gap that Peter Brett has afforded himself up at the front, and his rivals are affording him even more time, given how close they are on this track. We can see Revsig getting a great view in his rear view mirror of Kashik-Tarash Ferrari, and Liam Page is absolutely loving what he's seeing, because he is very much closing in on the battle ahead. Is there a double overtake on the cars? Is one of these drivers going to potentially come into the pits. We've still got Fielder closing in on Rawlings. These two side by side making their way through the field. Extra bit of steering input there from Liam Page as the BMW. Oh, fights back again. Page really is on the ragged edge here. As you can see, the cars ahead threatening to go side by side at almost every turn. It was the Ferrari closes right in on Rev 6 BMW. Rev 6 with that ballast. They've all still got the pit stops to take. Alvarez, the lead pro driver, to have taken his pit stop. Then it is 3 silvers. Euphoric State, Klaus Christensen and Nelson Abrunhosa. Christensen and Abrunhosa taking those pit stops. At the end of lap 1, Nergard with a somewhat enforced pit stop as well. And Faultea, under the same circumstances as well, has dropped down but has rejoined. Sorry, not that he didn't leave. He didn't leave, my apologies. He hasn't rejoined. He's been in, he's taken his mandatory pit stop. He's got that damage fixed and he's back out, bringing up the rear in 24th position. But still a lot of pit stops to take, a long way to go. Well, 37 minutes actually. Well, the first 23 minutes really have flown in. But yeah, still 37 minutes to go, and he's got some very quick lap times under his belt so far. So definitely a possibility of getting much higher up the order than he currently is. All still very close here as Dan Watts, championship leader. Another driver carrying that ballast. As I mentioned before, he was closing in on Page and he is now getting ever closer. So it is RTO 2nd and 5th, Kasikteras and Page sitting there 3rd and 4th. Sam was very soon, and you would think, Simon, that one way or another something's got to give here. These 4 drivers getting this close, somebody's going to have to do it, make an overtake, force the issue, or come into the pits potentially.
If I was Amir or Liam right now, I would come into the pits. You've got RTO drivers ahead and right behind you now, and Refsig's doing a fantastic job of playing that defensive game. He's slowing Amir, who's got it all wrong coming out of the final turn, then he's going to lose 2 positions to Liam and Dan Watts. Drops back down to 5th place then, and that has exactly worked into the favour of the RTO boys. It's exactly what I was saying, that Refsig's playing a blinder with that defensive drive. He's not buckling under pressure, and in fact it's the drivers who are trying to attack the positions that are making all the issues themselves. So yeah, I would have picked if I was Amir or Liam Page, just to get out of the air of Refsig, who's naturally slow with the ballast at this stage of the race. Yeah, definitely. Just thinking about the ballast, I was looking at the pits as well. Sorry, just as Rocco comes in to the pits, that was a bit of a blank rejoin from myself there. But that does make it interesting. As you said, Kasikteras is the one that's buckling under pressure, whereas it was Refsig who the pressure was being applied to. But he is a wily campaigner, solid as a rock, and even in 2nd place at the moment, even with the in the BMW, Simon, you've got to think, without the ballast, he really would be challenging Peter Brett, even though Brett is in the Porsche. The BMW driver, 20 kilograms of ballast he's got. He's 10 seconds down, but as you said, the defensive drive he's putting in, and still to be within 10 seconds, despite being in a car not famed for its performance down this track, it is a phenomenal drive at the moment. Yeah, phenomenal drive from, I guess, all the BMW drivers actually in this championship so far. You know, Sigurd, Liam and Dan Watts are all at the head of the table in this championship, and they're all doing battle once again for positions, albeit for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So it's going to be a really interesting season between those 3 drivers, and I mean, it might all come down to the drop round, it might come down to the fastest lap point. Peter Brett's obviously holding that with this round at the minute, but yeah, there's still so much at play here in this championship. And I mean, even Peter Brett, he's been on pole for 3 of the 4 rounds. Okay, the 2 pole positions that he took in previous rounds didn't go his way, it didn't turn into race wins, but he's definitely got the pace to lead this championship. He led away at 3 of the rounds. He's looking good for the win at this round, which is almost now halfway distance. He's definitely not going to be challenged in this race because Refsig, Liam and Dan Watts are also battling for that second place position now. And yeah, I think it's just going to be coming down to pit stop strategy at this stage of the race between those guys. And Peter Brett doesn't even have to do anything, because whilst they're battling behind, they're just naturally slowing each other up. I wouldn't be surprised if before they come into the pits that gap is out to 12, 13, maybe 15 seconds. And then yeah, he's going to be laughing all the way to the checkered flag after the stops.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I'm just jumping back and forward there. Fascinating battles, all of them at the moment, involving Team RTO. It is a 2-on-1 Refsick and Watts against Page. We can just see him jumping onto Bailey Cam here. Been a while since we've done Bailey Cam. Hope you're doing well, Bailey. Hope uni is going well as well. But we're also watching the rear spoiler once again of Joe Boyle, Mr. Linksay. He's being chased down by Alfie Barnes, started in second place. Had a bit of a fall from grace after too many tyres on the grass. Found himself dropping 7 positions, second down to 9th. He has made it back ahead of Marco Tacchini, and he is all over the rear spoiler of Joe Boyle. So again, another battle that could come down to the pit strategy. Boyle more than capable soaking up the pressure lap after lap. Some drivers like that, they just yeah, what you wouldn't give to have that temperament, Simon.
Yeah, and that's what you get when you're a seasoned driver. You know, it comes with the experience. Even if you may go into round and you haven't got the pace of the others, your experience is a factor, and it can yield you a fantastic result when you shouldn't be in that position at all. And that's what we're seeing from Joe right now. He's in 6th place in the pro class. Like we said, he qualified down in 11th or 12th. He's just running a clean race, letting his experience do the talking. Something may happen with a faster driver, like we've seen Amir having off, we've seen Alfie having off. All it takes is a couple of those through the race, and he's going to be up inside the top 5 by the end of it. So yeah, credit to Joe for soaking up the pressure. And again, Amir in 5th place now. He's closing on the 3 BMWs battling, so even if you do make a mistake like they both have, you can see now here, when there's a car slower than you in front of you, you can go right back up into the battle. So it's still not over for Alfie or Amir in this battle for the podiums, I don't think, because there's not much to separate these, and it only takes a slow pit stop or something to go wrong in the pit stop, or a slow out lap with traffic, and then they're right back in the game again.
Yeah, they are, and it's still very close between the other 2 RTO drivers. We're seeing more drivers make their way into the pits as we approach the halfway mark of the race. Of course, at the moment, is Frisina leading the way for the silvers, with Mustafa Ranjbar in 2nd place and James Rollins running in 3rd. Of course, we've seen several drivers take their pit stops. Armand Petrovic, in fact, he's got himself out ahead of Euphoric State, so good move there, although there he gives up the position. 17th. Oh, sorry, he's not taking his pit stop, has he? Sorry, I was looking at the board wrong. So he's not taking his pit stop. So yeah, Euphoric State is on a charge. He's got a bit of a gap back to Klaus Christensen, another silver driver that's taking his pit stop. Ben Nergard, the pro driver, looking to close up. So to the silver driver, rears Gabriel Fortea. Both of these drivers involved in lap 1 incidents. We saw them into the pits earlier. There is Tony Frisina, leader of the silvers, coming in to the pits. And I tell you, the battles really are spicing up. It's all going to come down to the pit stops. As Simon spotted Amir Kashikarash. May have had that little incident, but he's not wasted any time at all catching back up. And in fact, they have got Roy Schutz just in between them. There goes the Ferrari making his way through, but he has closed indeed right back up on this battle. Revsik has got himself a bit of breathing space here. Is Liam Page just behind? Then it is Dan Watts and Kashikras, as we can see, visibly getting closer. Chris Fielder and James Rawlings, these two still separated by not much more than a bungee cord as they make their way round the track. Battles for positions in the silvers. And second and third at the moment. Their pit stops, of course, still to take. Alfie Barn for ERS. So it is great to see, because ERS, that is, sorry, so it's Alfie Barn, he is ERS, so is Amir Kashikra. So it's great to see some of these teams, Simon. We can both talk about this. We get so nostalgic all the time seeing drivers coming over from console to the PC, but now the teams transitioning as well. Liam Page, SOP console driver, Alfie Barn and Amir Kashikra were both console drivers. I'm sure at some point some of the RTO drivers were, but yeah, great to see. And the teams that really are doing well with those three, the predominant ones in the top six, as Alfie does in fact come into the pits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's always nice to have an abundance of teams all battling with each other. It creates a fantastic championship. You know, it's SOP versus RTO versus ERS right now, and that's how the championship is looking as well, inside the top 10. Obviously it's scattered with a few other drivers from various teams. Yeah, we're getting a lot of support from RTO and ERS in these championships. As a drive-through, as I said, the pit stops can be the undoing of some of these drivers, and that's exactly what's happened for Alfie. His charge for the podium is well and truly out the window with that drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that is his race completely undone.
And this is the thing, it goes back to experience, I guess. You know, Joe Boyle, yeah, he's been slower than Alfie all race. In qualifying and race trim, he hasn't got the speed. But when you're throwing away 30 seconds like that with a drive-through penalty, you know, it doesn't matter how fast you are. You're not gonna get the results you're looking for with that type of issue, are you?
Yeah. I mean, because with the pit stops, you'll see the drivers, the lap times do massively tumble towards the end of the race. The only requirement, of course, in the pits is to take on board fuel. It doesn't matter how much fuel you take on, so you'll find that 90% of the drivers have got enough fuel for the entire race when they start the race to come in to take on board 1 litre to minimise the amount of time spent in the pits. You absolutely do not want an extra trip or any extra time in there, and Alfie Barr not done himself any favours. When you see the Ferrari down through the first hairpin, getting all over the back of Dan Watts it is now, as he tumbled down the order. Kashika is back up to 5th, and he's looking good to hold on to that position, given that Alfie Barn has got that drive-through penalty. And Barn ahead, he's just been overtaken by Alvarez as he comes into the pit. So he was, and Kashikras has lost it. Has Kashikras lost it? What happened there?
He definitely did lose it, yeah. He was looking all wobbly at the beginning of this lap. I was about to say he should think about pitting, because he's having a few too many mistakes trying to chase down Dan Watts. Maybe his vision's impaired trying to follow the BMW. But again, there we go. Another super fast driver who could have been on the podium. His race has just been undone by a driver error there. He's picked up damage. He'll need to repair that in the pit stop window. And that's another one who's literally biting the dust, unfortunately.
Indeed, into the walls.
Another top talent that's going to be dropping down. And like I just said, there we go. That's going to give Joe Boyle that top 5 position. So it's all playing into the hands of Joe Boyle right now. Is
Linksay pretty much the happiest driver on track at the moment. Klaus Christensen just catching up to Petrovic as well, making his way past Petrovic. Petrovic still got to take that pit stop. Rawlings and Fielder still having separation issues. And there comes Floppy Fox into the pits in his Ferrari.
Yeah, one of them's dealing with ballast issues, and one of them's dealing with back issues between Rawlings and Fielder.
That is quite a combination.
yeah, we'll see which one comes out on top.
Indeed. Peter Brett, let's give him a bit of camera time in his beautiful Porsche. 22 laps in, 12.5 seconds ahead of Sigur Drevsik, who is by virtue in second position. There's no one ahead of him that has taken their pit so far, so that is a representative gap between the race leaders. Now got to 13 seconds. Of course, the ballast free Porsche.
Yeah, hopefully Peter Brett has learned from his mistakes from Hungaroring. I mean, he took pole position. He had a bit of contact in lap 1, which dropped him to 2nd place, but he was still holding 2nd place. And then he picked up a drive-through penalty in the pits for speeding in the pits at Hungaroring, which really dropped him down the order and messed up his race. So hopefully there's no repeat of that here, because currently he's on for the Triple Crown and he's been absolutely flawless, you know. Pole position, fastest lap, and the race win is on the cards. He just needs to slow down enough on that pit entry.
Yeah, so obviously I missed last week's race, few personal issues. So did he pick up a penalty? Yeah, old job, Boyle.
Yeah, so Peter Brett took pole position, but he picked up a drive-through penalty in the pits for speed in the pits. Liam Page took the win. Literally, there was less than 2 tenths across the line between Liam Page, Dan Watts and Refsig. They all crossed the line together. But Liam Page also picked up a penalty post-race, which dropped him outside of the podium positions. So that's why his race win from Hungaroring was taken away from him, and that's why he doesn't have any ballast here today. But again, Refsig, Page and Watts, they're inseparable once again. And I mean, you've got to give it to the RTO boys, because they're the ones racing with the ballast right now, and they're still bringing in the results. So it's looking good for the RTO boys in 2nd, 4th and 5th, when Joe Boyle feeds back up into those top positions when everyone else pits themselves. Zalpi comes into the pits again.
Yeah, I was just going to say that isn't again, actually. Again, with a question mark at the end. We really do need to get a trackside reporter. But yeah, Alfie Barn back in the pits. He served his drive-through, but he is back in. Dan Watts, so we're just mentioning the RTO drivers there. There's another one coming in to take his pit stop. It is championship leader Dan Watts in from 4th place. Liam Page, ballast free as we mentioned.
Now, if I was Liam, I would come into the pits on this very next lap to counter Dan Watts. That is what I would do if Watts was right behind him. And then, if you're coming into the pits on the very next lap, hopefully you can find yourself jumping ahead of Refsig if he decides to stay out.
Indeed, yeah.
I will be right back now, Tom. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, no problem. So 2 things. Chris Fielder and James Rollins still with separation issues. Just a little note there, it says on the back of his car, you can see that it's okay not to be okay, and that is a very important thing to remember. If you do ever need to talk to someone, please reach out and get some help. Mental health is an unbelievably important thing to look after. There's loads of charities out there. The first step can always seem like the scariest, but it's always the most rewarding if it's going to help get you back on the road to mental wellness. So remember, it is okay not to be okay. Reach out, talk to someone, because I can assure you, people would much rather have you sit there for a cup of tea than have to attend funerals if things go the way they can do. And as we see far too often, especially in men aged between 20 and 45. So please, Mind UK, a very good one in the UK, and they can also point you in the direction of charities in your area if they don't have someone for there. So yeah, if you do, please reach out. But yeah, great to see that on Chris Fielder's car. But yeah, back to the racing action after that short infomercial there. Peter Brett still leading the way. Liam Page now up in the 2nd. The Sigurd Revsig has come in and taken his pit back out. Still in 3rd position. Not dropping down also slightly. Yeah, so Dakini has made his way through as well. So to Ransbar. In fact, a couple of other drivers may well make their way through as well. Dan Watts is definitely behind Revsig.
So that's really interesting, that is. And, well, I think Liam Page has done the right thing, actually, by staying out. Now he's got that clean there, and he's going to try and get those laps under his belt to try and get the overcut in pit strategy here rather than the undercut.
Right, okay, yeah.
Well, you can see there, Dan Watts pitted 1 lap earlier and he's lost 4 seconds to Refsig in that pit window by pitting 1 lap earlier, so the overcut has definitely worked in Refsig's favour. Wonder if it's going to work in Liam Page's favour with that clean air.
Yeah.
Has Refsig or Watts got to deal with any lap traffic right now? Are they being held up by anything?
No, Refsec has got clear air.
So has Watts,
yeah. And so has Watts. In fact, yeah, the next driver to Watts is Refsec.
And then Boyle, actually.
And then Boyle just behind. So, yeah.
I know, yeah. 124, 126, 125. I just noticed they're all lapping together now.
They are indeed.
And to be honest, I think that's how it could play out. I think Liam Page might be able to do enough to just jump up into second place. There'll be Peter Brett miles ahead of everybody else. He's 15 seconds ahead now. And so I think it might be the RTO boys in 3rd, 4th and 5th at the end of this one.
This feels just so wide. Yeah, it's certainly looking that way. Mirka Sheikter is back out the pits and flying. He's on the back of Tony Frasina, who is, we will say, leader of the silvers at the moment. Mustafa Ransbar could be putting in absolutely next level laps in the Aston, but we'll have seen how quick that Porsche is at the hands of Frasina. Getting the moves done on Joe Boyle in the pros early doors.
Hey, good evening, Wiz Motorsport. How are you doing?
Yay, Raph, how are we doing? Good evening, good evening. Hello, John and Simon. See, and Simon. Thank you. Good to see somebody loves me.
We all love you, mate. We all love you.
But yeah, good evening, Raph. How are you doing? Enjoying the racing, hopefully. We've certainly got plenty of action. We've seen a couple of runners and riders drop down the order after a couple of lap 1 incidents. But they're making their way back through. For Faultier no longer with us, unfortunately. Ben Neergaard is staying the course, so 21st position overall. One of the fastest drivers on track. In fact, his last lap, the only driver quicker on track on their last lap was actually Peter Brett leading the way. So Neergaard at the moment is the 2nd fastest driver on track. So after that lap 1 incident and enforced pit stop, he's doing everything he can to get closed back up. We'll watch this battle here. Yeah, we're watching this battle between the Ferrari, the Porsche and the BMW, Simon.
Yeah, lovely. We're on board with Kashita Rash in the 789. He's closely following a silver class driver there, Frasina, but definitely not showing silver class pace. He's been able to mix it with the pro class all race. Actually, you know, he was as high as 6th place, challenging Joe Boyle for race position. Well ahead of the rest of the silverback. He hasn't had the cleanest of championships. He's taken 2 4th place finishes as his best result, so he's definitely looking to go one better than that. Pick up a race win here. Porsche is absolutely fantastic around Zaandvoort and definitely looking to capitalise and pick up a win for the first time in this season. And Peter seems to have found another gear as of late. He definitely has got a lot faster. Could say he's found his symphony. But actually, I know why he's got a lot faster. Our race team are using a brand new tool called Track Titan. If you've heard of it, you should download and install it, because it is a fantastic race tool. And hey, it's a plug, and it's a free plug. They've not even asked for this. The Track Titan, yeah, they're definitely helping our team improve. So yeah, that could be why you're seeing Peter pick up the pace. Our Pistol Pete. Yeah, I know he's had a couple of coaching sessions from Luke Whitehead as well. But it's only good news from us. He obviously wants to get himself to that next level of esports racing. So you got to do what you got to do to improve as a driver. He wants to compete at the very top of ACC in all the big competitions. Get coaching from the best. That's the way to do it. Sorry, yeah, we're just talking about Peter Brett in the lead there, John. Wiz Motorsport's just saying how much he's improved lately, and yeah, he's been having some coaching from some other top ACC drivers, and our esports team are actually using a new app called Track Titan, which is helping our drivers improve. Yeah, that's why Peter Brett's been able to take 3 pole positions out of 4 races in this championship, and that's why he's leading this race, because he's been able to have a clean lap 1, and he's away and gone from the rest of them, as everyone else is doing battle behind. Leon. You're getting bored beating him all the time.
That's it. Leon's just taking a break to let other people have a chance winning. Leon, what a guy. What a guy. But yeah, that Luke Whitehead, he's a bit quick. He's a bit handy behind the wheel. Yeah, almost is a cheat code, getting lessons from him. But no, very quick indeed. Speaking of very quick indeed, Ben Nergard. I did say he was pretty much effectively the 2nd fastest driver on track. He has got Nelson Abrinhosa. Got to love his livery as well.
He is down in 21st, John, but that is still 10th in class, so it's still decent points, because we've had a few withdraw from this round and a few withdraw from the championship, so he's still picking up valuable points in the championship fight.
Here he is. Amir Kashikras looking to pick up more points as well. He's going to need to get past Tony Frasina first, who's doing his best to get past Albi Alvarez. Just back off from a year away from the sim rig. Must be nice to have a level of talent where such like riding a bike can come back and put in these levels of performance and laps. You can clearly see the 2 cars chasing around the track. 11 minutes left to go. Frasina, not a battle for position at the moment, and he's unlikely to need to worry about it. It is Euphoric State in 2nd place, although Mustafa Ranjbar, as he pulled off a worldie of a strategy in Aston Martin, he's been lapping very quickly, cleanly and consistently, and he is lapping at the moment at the same times as Tony Frasina as well. So if he can keep up this level of performance and Frasina stays behind Alvarez, can Ranjbar sneak a win in the silvers right at the death? Klaus Christensen looking to take away some more points. He, of course, has ballast as well. He's got Fielder and Rawlings still inseparable, just ahead of him. So these 3 with the ballast. It is Ranjbar, Frasina and Euphoric State ahead of them on track. And by the looks of it, Simon, and you've got to say, with that gap, Mustafa Ranjbar is pretty much on for a podium here.
Yeah, he should be on for a podium. You know, the pit stops are only 3 seconds with only needed to take fuel. You know he's not going to take any tyres with only 9 minutes left of the race. So it's going to be a splash and dash in and out. It's quite a short pit stop here at Zaandvoort as well. So he could be challenging for the race victory, but definitely on the podium, yeah, definitely. I don't think Frasina's lap times are being stuck behind, would you believe, stuck behind a pro driver, you know. He's definitely losing time because he was challenging for a top 5 position overall in this race. But yeah, is whether Ranjbar's done enough to get the magic done. It might be enough for Ranjbar to take the lead of this one, and yeah, it'll be like you said, he's pulled the blinder, stayed out there all this time, managed to avoid any slower traffic. You pick up a race win through strategy. Exactly what you need.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be the first one to float the idea of a race win. I thought that would get shot down for being too over-ambitious. I do get over-excited sometimes with these races, but yeah, the race win definitely is on the cards, I would agree, given that we can see Frasina is perfectly sandwiched between two pros. Bit of a wiggle from the BMW. The forces another look up the inside. Is it going to be Kasikteras that pulls off a double overtake?
How long's the pits here, John? Because Ranjbar's got around 22, 23 seconds in the bag at the minute. Is that enough for a 3-second splash and dash?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me that, and the reason I knew you were going to ask me that is because I was looking for it.
Telepathic
I've been tidying up my...
The opposite end of the country. I just knew so.
Okay, so... Oh, wow. Is it really short as that? No way. 27 seconds?
Yeah, it's a short pit stop here.
It really is, yeah, so it is. It's only 27 seconds for a 1 litre refuel.
Okay. Well, Frasina's around 23 seconds behind right now. But if he's losing time to Alvarez and he's not able to get past, that could creep up to the 27-second mark by the time Ranjbar pits. That'll be really interesting. It's going to be super tight with this battle for the win.
It is indeed.
And all you've got to do, actually, not too far behind, you know, you've got the 117 Porsche as well, actually closing right up on Kasikteras and Michael there in 10th and 11th. So it could be a three-way battle for the win as things stand, and getting in the way of these drivers is their class, which is obviously causing problems because they don't want to give a position to a driver not in their class.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Looking down there. The Forest Stacy, yeah, we'd have to get past Firth first. That's easy for me to say. Firth is 2 seconds down, but he is in the post 6 minutes.
Ooh. Tell you what, Ranjbar's got the time in the bag. He's almost 30 seconds to the good over Frasina right now.
And he is actually starting to catch a McLaren. There is 6 minutes left to go, so he's not got long left to take his pit. Is he going to come out in traffic? That is the big question. 124 and 125, they're definitely going to get ahead of him. Yeah, Boyle. So it is going to come down to, is he going to come out ahead of Alvarez? That is the big question. That is the gap he's looking to slot into. He won't be ahead of Boyle. Will he be ahead of Alvarez? The gap is just about on, as you say. We've got 5 minutes left to go. Klaus Christensen, despite the ballast, is looking very racy indeed. He definitely isn't. None of these three drivers, you can absolutely bet your house on it, are not going to do anything crazy. Even if an overtaking opportunity presents itself, they will take it, but you certainly won't see any crazy lunges or sends. As they well know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Simon now knows that one too. So they will be taking home points, and they will be going to next week's race with no ballast, which I'm sure they'll all be grateful for. Peter Brett in and out of the pits very quickly and safely indeed. No repeat of last week's race. The race win now only 5 minutes away. Liam Page is the on-track leader. He, of course, still got to take his pit stop. It does have a nice clear bit of air in front of him as well, though. So his strategy paying off. Podium payoff potential. We will see. He's going to have to really go some, given that Sigurd Revsig is absolutely firing in the laps at the moment. That is the correct term. Liam Page 36.4. The lap before he went in the pits, Sigurd doing 36.2s. Dan was just off the pace, but he is making his way through traffic at the moment. That is Nelson Abrinhosa. He's just making his way past Nergard, still behind Abrinhosa as well. So the two teammates under dual blue flag situations trying to make their way through. Kasikteras still behind Frasina. You can see that extra point. These two well inside the top 10 for their class. 7th for Alvarez, 8th for Kasikteras. But yeah, still, you have to think that out of these drivers, Kashikarash definitely unhappiest, and Alvarez smiling ear to ear. He's made up positions, and a couple of those have been at the expense of Kashikarash. With 3 minutes to go, it's looking like a tall ask for Kashikarash to get any of these places back now, as Ranjbar comes into the pit, Simon.
Yeah, Page and Ranjbar into the pits. We'll see where they both pop out now. Page has already left the pits. Is he ahead of Refzig there? I don't think he is. He's going to be right behind him, actually, as Ranjbar is in his pit box as well, as Refzig is through. I think Page is through. Is he? Actually, Page is up into second then.
No, Page is behind the BMW
right
that has an
behind
RTO livery. Yep, that is Refzig. So he is. He's come out behind Refzig, but ahead of Dan Watts and Joe Boyle. Mustafa Ranjbar is back out on track, and he's behind Simon. He's not got. Look how close that is. He is. Oh my goodness, he's milliseconds behind that battling head. So it's a four-way battle then for 7th position on track, but it is game on to Tony Frisina. But it just goes to show you, Mustafa Ranjbar absolutely worldy of a first 55-minute stints, man, because we've seen how quick Frisina was up against the pros, and currently is against the pros. But Mustafa so close to getting himself a race win there, Simon.
Yes, and well, these final 2 minutes are going to be very interesting indeed between Ranjbar and Frisina, because I know Amir Kashitarash is actually Ranjbar's enduro teammate. They form the Iran racing team. And
of course
so,
they
yeah,
do, yes.
I wonder if they're going to swap positions to let Ranjbar fight for the race win, or if Amir is going to say, no, I'm fighting for position myself against Alvarez.
Well, not only that, if he does swap positions, there is a Floppy Fox lurking in the background.
Exactly. Yeah.
Floppy Fox is right in the hunt as well. 1 minute 21 seconds to go, and as you would expect, it's all kicking off here as Ben Nergar still trying to get his way past Nelson Abrunhosen. Nothing doing there at the moment. Christensen trying to get his way past Rollins. I think I saw Christensen lock up slightly, but the gap was already 2 seconds ahead to Fielder. So he's got the foot down when he needed to. Euphoric State has got himself on that podium, 1.7 seconds down, but you can see Michael Firth, who is at the moment visibly quicker than Mustafa Ranjbar. Pros versus Silver Ranjbar on the podium in second position. Then is Kashikarash, who's in 8th place for the pros. Frisina leading the way for the Silvers. Marco Tacchini still going to take his pit stop. And in fact, where is he going to come back out?
He's got one more lap, so he needs to pit this time out. Peter Brett's right behind him. He's going to cross the line with one more lap to go.
Indeed he is, yeah.
So
right Tacchini left that right down to the end. Leaders on the final lap. Refzig coming round the last corner, so he's definitely going to hold on a second. Marco Tacchini, where is he going to finish? I don't think he's going to get ahead of any of the RTO boys. No, they're coming through the last corner. Tacchini in box number 1. Alvarez and the train coming round the very last corner for the penultimate time of asking. And it's Tacchini who is rolling. Has he gotten himself ahead of Albi Alvarez? He has indeed. So we talked about Mustafa Ranjbar having a worldie of a first stint, Simon. That's how to do it. 59 minutes and 30 seconds into a 1 hour race. Pop yourself into the pits and you're bringing home a top 7 position against a very strong field.
Yeah, again, one of those races where it's just been a clean race from lights to flag and no issues, no traffic.
Rollins and Fielder are going for it in the turn number 1. Sorry, they're finally getting this one done. They've caught back up. He's trying to go round the outside. He's boxed himself out the BMW. Has a look. He's going to side by side into turn number 2. Christensen backs out with that one there. Doesn't want to lose his nose. And it is James Rollins then, who's up to 13th position on the last lap, Simon. And as we come out the last corner, in fact, let me cut you off again, good man, because we are going to see Peter Brett cross the line after 1 hour of ballast-free racing and taking a pole position and finally converting a pole position to a race win. Peter Brett for SOP Esports takes home the checkered flag here at Zaandvoort. Phenomenal driving the BMW for Sigurd Revzig for Team RTO. Crosses the line to take second, and it is an SOP duo on the podium. Liam Page crossing the line in third position, followed up closely though by Dan Watts RTO, and it is an RTO trio in the top 5 with Joe Boyle making up 7 positions in the race. Consistency. Thy name is Linksay in that Mercedes. 5th place to Keeney, bringing home 6th position, no less. And it was a chase across the line, but it stayed as you were with Alvarez in 7th. Frasina winning for the Silvers. Kashiktaris in 8th. Ranjbar in 2nd. Michael Firth in 9th. And Euphoric State in 3rd place. Let's just get that up on the board. No, that won't bring that up. So that was Brett, Revsick and Page taking home the podium honours for the pros. Frasina, Ransbar and Euphoric State on the podium with for the silvers. With James Rawling losing, Chris Fielder, losing 2 positions on the last lap, Simon. Rollins and Christensen getting ahead of him to round out the honours in the top 6 for the silvers. And in fact, Williamson, Chris Fielder has run out of fuel.
Oh, no. That is heartbreaking.
So Chris Fielder has run out of fuel. So I don't know what happened. So does this mean he's a DNF?
Yeah. That close to the line, unfortunately. He had a lap over the rest of the guys behind. That's why he's not classified as last place. But yeah, he's not been able to finish the race. Unless there are a couple of drivers still racing. I wonder. Oh no, everybody's finished. They're just going around. Unless the 117 is going to push him across the line. We'll see if someone's going to do some nice honours there by crossing Fielder across the line.
No, the race is over.
No. That is a shame.
Yeah, that is... oh, no, we didn't want that.
No one's pushing him over the line. That is heartbreaking.
That is indeed.
Peter Brett, note to self, races go better when you don't practice.
They also go better when you get your pit strategy, when you get your pit stop correct as well. Sorry, too soon. But no, congratulations on the win. Let's have a look at the final results. Hopefully we've got long enough on the server left. We should do. So yeah, let's go for the silvers. It was Frasina taking top spot with Ransbar and Euphoric State, 2nd and 3rd. Rollins, Christensen, Williamson, 4th, 5th and 6th. Rocco, 7th. Chris Fielder will be credited with 8th, we think. Petrovic's 9th. Oost in 10th position. Abrin Hosa in 11th. And Roy Schutz finishing in 12th for Tate, and Gibbons DNFing in the race. And it was Brett, Revsig and Page taking top honours in the pros. Watts, Boyle, Takini, 4th, 5th and 6th. Alvarez, Frasina and Kashiktaras 7th, 8th and 9th. And Mustafa Ranjbar there is not on that list, obviously. So it was Kashiktaras in 8th, Firth in 9th. And as Simon mentioned, Ben Nergard finished in 10th position with, Alfie Barn also finishing. Not finishing the race. But yeah, as far as Zaandvoort goes, Simon, nice to see that it was pretty much a quiet evening in the stewards box, but we still had plenty of action on track. And the championship really looking very lively indeed, with only a few rounds left to go.
Yeah, that was a rather pleasant round. You know, there wasn't too many incidents between drivers. It was a fairly clean lap 1. There was fantastic racing to be had, some outstanding performances from drivers that had to deal with ballast. It was a race that had it all, yeah. It was fantastic. Drivers running out of fuel where they can't cross the line right at the very end of 60 minutes of racing, which is really, really unfortunate. But yeah, Peter Brett, he completed the Triple Crown today with pole, fastest lap and race win, first of the season. I'm sure he's a happy man. And it was a fantastic battle for the silver class win as well. I mean, Porsche mopped up today, but there's those championship protagonists with the BMWs, once again pretty much inseparable. And yeah, Joe Boyle going from 11th to 5th, so that's a great race for him as well. Some outstanding performances up and down the field. So I look forward to the next round, I believe.
Paul Ricard, like you didn't already know that, Simon.
No, I didn't know if it was a week off though.
Oh, okay.
We just had 2 rounds back to back. Oh no, yeah, we're going again. No, we had a week off before we came to Zaandvoort. So we've got Zaandvoort and then Paul Ricard back to back. So yeah, two fantastic tracks. I absolutely love Paul Ricard. Next Wednesday, March the 8th, it creates some fantastic racing. So I really can't wait to see that round either. And once again, it's a track that suits the BMW. So we should expect a fantastic battle for the race win for BMW drivers.
Yeah, another 2 cracking rounds still to come in the SimStaff sponsored SOP Motorsport Sprint Championship. Thank you again to our sponsors, SimStaff. If you want to go onto their new newsletter, you can click the flash on the QR code, scan the QR code that's on the screen now. That'll take you to their new newsletter as well, so keep you up to date with all the employment opportunities you can hope for in the sim racing space. So give them a click and show them some support as they've supported us and our racers on track. So thank you very much to them. Thank you to the drivers that took part in the race this evening. Of course, thank you to everyone in chat. Thank you to Rust Race and Furore79. We also had RS Smith followed just before we went live, so thank you guys for the follow. Again, thank you to everyone. Oh, there's Mr. Falcon in the chat as well. Everyone's got the same colour name, same colour writing, so it's difficult to tell. But hi to everyone again in the chat. Vivek, and Mr. Cairns as well. Rafa, stop harassing the competition. And of course, big thank you joining me in the comedy box once again, Mr. SOP himself. It's Simon Baggis.
Yeah, lovely evening, John. Nice to be in the comedy box again.
Yep, indeed. Good to have you here. And my moderator. Yeah, I can't do a raid again.
Not working again. Almost a perfect broadcast, John.
Almost. It wants me to sign in on the Streamlabs chat, does it?
Oh, never mind. Everyone's leaving. Everyone's leaving already.
Indeed. But yeah, no, I can't get a raid. I need to get that. The rest of the bots are working, but those ones are not. So I'm going to jump over and watch Errol Ipswich, if anyone's interested. So yeah, jump on over there, say hi to the Errol. And if you do want to get involved in any of our racing, there is the Discord link. And of course, for ACC, you can sign up on SimGrid. Oh, in fact, no, sorry, exclamation mark ACC and exclamation mark Race Room to sign up for any of our championships. Until we meet again, take it easy. Have a great rest of your evening. Good night.